morning. Hello. Welcome to those who are watching this live daily singing warm up. I thought that this morning what we could do is that anyone who is watching can comment on the stream and just tell me what is it that you would like to get out of this warm up. So Susan, hello. Hi Susie. What do people want to get out of these daily warm-ups? Is it touching base with community and just knowing that we're all still here? Is it a feeling of being more grounded, some clarity, more peaceful? Is it touching base with your body? Is it actually working on your instrument and using this time? You're a professional singer and you want to work on something? In which case, what do you want to work on? Is there a part of your voice that you want to work on? Is it resonance? Is it breath support? Is it chord closure? Is it control over your larynx? Is it just a little bit more awareness of your instrument? Is it none of the above and you just want to have a chance to sing? But if you have a chance, then just pop something in the comments here about what you want to get out of this. And also if you have any questions that I can have a look at and I can address for next time. All right, so what we're going to do today is we're going to bring your awareness to the different parts of your vocal system, improve your understanding of your singing voice. We're going to then balance the parts of your vocal system so that we can engage the bits that want to be engaged to sing and release the bits that need to be released to sing. And we're also going to start this off with some breathing, some stretching and some alignment so we can start the day well. Now I did think today before we started, I did think about doing a warm-up for myself before I did a warm-up for you because I was so nervous about going live. And then I thought about the irony of having to do a vocal warm-up to do a vocal warm-up. So I thought I should probably just jump in and do the vocal warm-up with you. And if it doesn't warm me up, then I've done a rubbish job. So let's do this together, okay? So standing with your legs hips width apart underneath your hips. And let's just take a moment to take a couple of deep breaths in. And just feel the ground beneath your feet. And acknowledge where you are right now. Think about where you are at this strange present moment. I'm very aware that I'm in my spare room, on my own, feeling like I'm talking to myself, yet being observed by friends and new friends. So it is what it is in this moment. So we're going to have to go with this. So give your toes a wiggle and just scan from your big toes to your little toes. Move your attention to your ankles and just allow them to release, moving up through your legs to your knees. Really nice loose knees. If you were locking, just let everything release. Move up to your hips and allow them to release as well. Make sure your feet are hips width apart and you've got a nice heavy bum now. Let's move to the cage of your ribs and just take a moment observing the inhalation and the exhalation, and whatever is happening is right now. You feel your lungs filling up with air, and then you can feel the air releasing, and you can let it release on a bit of a sigh and relieve any tension. Let's take some in-breaths as we roll our shoulders backwards. Let's take 4 or 5 of those. Breathing in and sighing out. Letting your throat release on the sigh and forward, breathing in and sighing out. Give your hands a little shake, and as you do that, shake your knees as well. And just again, encourage any tension that is building up to release. All right, let's take the head to the side. Now, why do we need to stretch before we sing? So I'll answer that myself. So let's visualize that in your throat you have an instrument. Okay, let's not get complicated. We don't need to talk about exactly what it is now. Just imagine a bell ringing freely, and just acknowledge that all sound is vibrations. Stretch over the other side. And now just think about what would happen if something touched that bell. What would happen to those vibrations? Let your head drop forward. Take a deep breath in to any tension. Release as you let your head drop back. Keeping your knees nice and loose. So what would happen to that bell? Drop your jaw and lift. If anything starts to constrict it. Okay, and again, without getting too technical here, just kind of acknowledge that here, give it a massage, root your jaw, around your jaw hinge, there are plenty of muscles that run around that instrument in your throat, your larynx and your vocal cords, or you can just imagine it like that bell that wants to ring freely. So just imagine that if that jaw is getting tense, those muscles will also consequentially tense up and restrict that free movement of your larynx. You know what? Your body actually knows what to do. Your larynx knows what to do. It's that we are often getting too interfering and we get in the way of it all. All right, you can give yourself a little gentle massage under here. I mean, I'm not the expert on a tongue root massage. This is the root of your tongue, but we can acknowledge that this root of your tongue here is very close to your larynx. You see it's attached here to the hyoid bone where the larynx is swinging. That bell is swinging. So if this gets tight again, you know, it's going to interfere with all the freedom of everything. So let's keep this simple. Just acknowledge we've got to be nice and free to sing. All right. So let's start now. So let's get the air flowing with that standard, the lip trill. All right. Now I have a few rules to my warm-ups, which is one that we start with. I try to start with 2 or 3 SOVT exercises. For more on what that is, we'll talk about that another time. But let's just say 2 or 3 things with a closed mouth. It's a very gentle way of warming up. I also don't want to go too high for a bit. So the first few exercises we're going to go really low. So we're actually going to start right down here, which might be too low for some people. Don't worry. And we're going to go 1, 2, 1, 2. Just release and just be aware of that airflow flowing through. Breathing in. So as breathing in and then release on the moving that down again. Breathing in and release. Just let the voice sink down into your base and enjoy that feeling of low notes. And because I'm kind of following where I want to, what I feel I need to do as because I can't tell what you need to do. I feel like we could do a few more of these. They're good, right? Let's just keep lip trilling for a little bit longer. It feels like it's early in the morning. Let's go up again. Going up again. Don't be afraid of the lip trill. We're going down again. Just dig into those vibrations and embrace them. Up again. Up again. Down again. Okay, good. So we're just going to we want vibrations right now. All right, let's move on to our second exercise, which is puffy cheeks. So puffy cheeks out. Just give a sigh. So this is not a doing thing, it's a not doing thing. It's a and then you add your sound. Okay, but instead of going down, we're going to slide up. We're going to go sliding upwards, but we're going to think down. So although you're sliding up your range, I want you to still continue imagining this like a sigh, a release, okay? So I think that there's this constant battle. We used to sing music going upwards on the stave, or even if you don't read music, you still think of high notes as being something you climb up to. But actually, as you're going up, what you need is more release, more space, and more energy of airflow, let's call it. So actually you need more of a feeling. So as we go up, I'm going to count to 1, 2, and then we're going to go up. We're going to go 1, 2, and we're going to go. You can either imagine these as releasing, or you could imagine the airflow going forward like this. Like that, so it almost speeds up as you go through the phrase. All right, let's go. 1, 2. 1. So you got space between your wisdom teeth. And awareness of all that, those vibrations. Because your mouth is shut, you can get a real good sensation of the resonance inside. Down again. 1, 2. 1, 2, and release. Just think how free your jaw is in this one. And enjoy the freedom of your jaw. And last one. So I'm going to refer to my notes just in case. I think we're doing breathe in for 2, out for 2. We are. And if you haven't downloaded this and want to, I put this up on my website. There's a link above, so you can read a little bit more about what's going on in these exercises. So we're going to breathe in for 2. We're going to breathe out for 2. And then we're going to sing on an R. Now, what I want you to think about on this one is, I think that we often do things when we're about to start a phrase that are not necessarily very helpful. So we breathe in, and then we sometimes forget to breathe out when we sing, or we sometimes forget to release everything that is around that instrument. So what we want to do is a real extreme version of release and breathe out. You can call it an aspirate onset, you can call it whatever you want, but we're going to breathe out before we sing, which will help release the jaw, release the tongue, release the muscles around the neck, release the larynx, and get the airflow going. So it's going to do some really lovely things. But what's really important is that if we're going to breathe in for 2 and then out for 2 and then sing, you don't breathe in for 2, out for 2, and then quickly snatch your breath in and then go, because that defeats the object of this. So we have to be really brave, and we have to sing where we've ended up after your out breath. Which means it's kind of scary because we've just sighed it right. We're going to make a sigh we're going to vocalize it as well. We're going to go, and then down at this place, you're going to come in on whatever note it is, but you're not going to jump up again. You're going to try and go for it down there. Now, this is especially scary for me at home because being a vocal coach, I have this freedom of being able to sing really freely a lot of the time with other people, especially with my choir. So I can really enjoy singing. And then suddenly I've got to do this in my spare room with 4 kids downstairs, and it's really scary. So let's be in this together and sing really loudly so that I don't think you're listening to me. Right, so we're going to breathe in for 2, out for 2, and then we're going to sing on it. I'll show you once. Low down there. Does that make sense? So, ready and... That's why I'm doing those hands. Ah. I think it's to encourage my own airflow. Can't talk and do this exercise. And should we do one more? And breathe all the way out. Good. All right, let's go to our tilty larynx. Right, larynx tilt. If this is the first time you've heard me say larynx tilt, go with it. I'm not going to explain right now. Let's just say that the exercise we're going to do is going to use the full spectrum of the larynx movement. And to do that, we need to explore that full spectrum of larynx movement because the larynx needs to be free to move in order for you to get the high notes. So it does a kind of tilting action which allows the vocal cords to lengthen. Now, we're not always very familiar with this because a lot of us just use our speaking voice the whole time, which doesn't yet necessarily utilize the action. So when we start to sing, for those of us who have problems with register breaks or high notes, it's really good to get that full larynx tilt going. So we're going to get a really low tilty larynx just to play with the movement and the awareness of it. So we're going to go for our tilty, so our dopey, yawny, sobby Papa Bear voice, which is like this, right? So Papa Bear's just come in the panto and gone, hello, and he's a bit dopey, a bit yawny, and a bit sobby. So we're going to go for whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Keep going. Whoa, 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 whoa. I think my mum's watching this. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hi, Mum. Whoa, 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 whoa. Think low. Whoa, 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 whoa. Add in the sob to get your breath. Whoa, 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 whoa. More sob, you'll get the breath. Whoa, 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 whoa. And whoa, 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 whoa. Good. All right. Well done. Let's go to let's go to your unga. So let's just get the tongue going because we don't want that. We've talked about the tongue being like this thing, this big fat cushion that is sat on the head of your larynx and absorbing its free movement. So let's just go for a unga. Let's go for this unga unga. It's going to get the breath going because every time it does that closure, you'll feel this connection here because the breath can't get out and so your body gets involved. It's also, we're trying to say, don't use your jaw. Get your tongue more mobile. Let's go for those two things. So we're going to go unga 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 unga. Don't use your jaw. Unga 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 unga. Just pause a second. When I said don't use your jaw, I know that overthinkers then suddenly do this and actively don't lose your jaw. And what I want you to do is, I don't want you to actively not use your jaw. I just want you to not use your jaw. If there's a difference between the two, which I can't articulate at this moment. So we don't want to engage the jaw, but we still want to lock it. So when I say don't use your jaw, don't try to lock it. Just concentrate on the tongue's movement and maybe give a wiggle of your jaw just to keep it freely moving, rather than moving side to side, rather than moving up and down. 1, 2. Nga, 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 Good. All right. Can we do our wees and get ourselves a bit higher? Now let's try and find some of this resonance up here. So to do that, put your finger between your teeth. All right. Wash your hands. Shooting out. Hopefully, I don't think anyone's been out. Has anyone been out today? I certainly haven't for about 4 days. Hold your nose. And we're going to go for, I want you to just start with a, let's try it around here. Wee. So I want you to go for a wee that is not in your nose, but you can feel buzzing like crazy around your head. So let's just have a moment trying to find that. Wee. So we're just going to want to find a lot of this kind of, it's not necessarily a very nice sound, but it's not in your nose. You can really feel it everywhere up here, okay? And we're going to try and, so once you've found that place, we're going to utilize it in this exercise, which is what we're going to do is go, let's go, Wee 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 wee. And I'll explain a bit more about why this works maybe another time. For now, let's just really enjoy that awareness of that feeling. So again, if you're standing like this at home, you set it into your nose. So set it out here. Wee, not wee, wee. I don't really do. Without the nose hold, it will sound like wee or wee. So again, wee, wee, nasal, wee, wee. All right, let's give it a go. 1, 2, 3. Wee, 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 wee. 1, 2, 3. Wee, 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 wee. Wee, 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 wee. Wee, 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 wee. Wee, 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 wee. Wee, 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 wee. Good. Let's finish off with some arpeggios on a hey. 3 beats, then a big gasp in, and then a call out. Now, just go emotively on this one. Don't forget, think about any technique. Let's just go for the call out, the feeling of hey. All right, so we're going to go like this. Hey, 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 hey. All right, just don't use your jaw. 1, 2, 3. Hey, 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 hey. 1, 2, 3. Hey, 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 hey. Enjoy the gasp. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. Gasp. Hey, 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 hey. Gasp. Hey, 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 hey. And good. And I think before we end, if you want to just comment about what you can see as you're shouting your heys, because I think it's interesting for us to know who's out there and where you all are. I'm really wondering about where everyone is. So I can see a field I can see fields and hills in the background. I'm in Wiltshire in the middle of nowhere, and my neighbour, who has a dog grooming van, is grooming a dog. And I have 4 children downstairs and a wife. And that's where I'm at. So if anyone else wants to just say where you are and what you can see at the moment, so we can all feel a little bit more like we are still together. Thank you for joining today, and do message with any questions or anything that you'd like me to approach or explain next time. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.